very special moments, of course, where we always talk about everything we guys do with health. No matter how rich you be, if you don't manage your health properly, trust me, death no be anybody mates. I mean, death now be one thing why I no say, you no be respecter of person, you no be respecter of color, you no be respecter of gender. You know, so the only thing we if you do to help yourself, at least if you manage, and that's always make sure say they very, 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 very in terms with or in tune with waiting the shell around your health. I know say we don't talk about what we don't talk about or waiting we won't talk about before. But yes, when they use the word global, them say you don't become more than be careful. Them say the spread, you understand, it have doubled more than what will be treated the last time. So ladies and gentlemen, of course, the expert we own in-house doctor, talking about Dr. Barth is here again and he's wearing my favorite color.
You can say that again. Good morning.
My doctor, good morning.
Slivers of devil.
Good to have you.
Yeah, good to have you too. Good morning, viewers at home and around the world. We're happy to be back this morning on Health Matter. We are continuing with a topic we started some few weeks ago. And what is this topic?
Monkeypox.
Yes, thank you very much. Okay, so monkeypox, as of this moment, have been reported in about 78 countries of the world. Monkeypox have been reported in about 78 countries of the world as of this moment. And I can tell you that it's spreading like a wildfire. Just about a week ago, the Director General of WHO declared monkeypox a global health emergency. So monkeypox has been declared a global health emergency. Okay? About 78 countries of the world have been affected at this moment, and more than 18,000 individuals have been infected with this disease. Among these 18,000 individuals were said to be about 80 children. The dynamics of transmission is beginning to change from what it used to be in past situations. Historically, we do know that monkeypox started in Africa. As a matter of fact, the first discovery was sometime in 1958 when monkeypox was isolated in a Danish laboratory among a group of monkeys that were kept for research purposes. And it wasn't until 1970 that the first human transmission was recorded, and it happened in Africa, in Congo DR. It was actually a child, an infant, that was said to have been infected. That was the first human case that was recorded in history. And over the years, monkeypox remained endemic in some parts of West Africa and Central Africa. That has changed. That narrative has changed. The new epicenter for monkeypox is now Europe. One of the worst hit countries of the world is Spain, with about 4,298 cases reported to WHO. And I can tell you that the dynamics of transmission is equally changing. And that is why it is concerning. That is why the world is startled. Needless to say that we are just trying to come back from a catastrophic COVID-19 pandemic. And now we have another health challenging battle to deal with in the name of monkeypox. What is monkeypox? It is a zoonotic disease. A zoonotic disease or zoonosis are diseases that can be transmitted from animals to humans. And from what we knew in time past, the transmission has actually changed. It has been discovered that it is now found predominantly among a certain population in the world. Wow. And these are population of people, of men who indulge in sexual activity with fellow men. Wow. But all of that are beginning to change because children are beginning to be infected. And of course, we have just said a while ago that the first case was actually a child that was infected in the year 1970. Over the years, we have had sporadic outbreaks in parts of Africa, Central and West Africa, where monkeypox has been endemic over the years. And how is monkeypox transmitted? Before we go that, let's talk about the signs and symptoms of monkeypox. I would like to point out at this time that the signs and symptoms of monkeypox is similar to what the world witnessed with the deadly smallpox that had been eradicated since 1980. And that is why today, some of the vaccines that we used in the eradication of smallpox from observational studies have been shown to be efficacious in dealing with the new monkeypox. In terms of presentation, signs and symptoms that one can look out for, it includes fever, weakness, and of course, swollen lymph nodes. But the outstanding feature that anybody should look out for is actually the skin eruptions that are usually found in the individual that have been affected by this disease. But that skin eruptions are no longer typical with the textbook stuff, literature that we knew of smallpox, of monkeypox before now. People presently have very few lesions. Oftentimes, it could be found in their almost every part of the body, in the genitalia. So, the most significant feature that we need to look out for when we are talking about monkeypox is actually that unique skin eruptions as well as swollen lymph nodes. I can tell you that a number of rash-causing diseases can actually present in similar way. A good example is chickenpox, and of course, measles are in that category. But these skin eruptions, which I may choose to call lesions, actually have a particular sequelae that it follows. It could initially appear as flattened rash. Much later, it could be elevated rash. Over time, it could contain fluid and form vesicles and pustules. Afterwards, it will start drying up, in which case you will start having crust developing on the skin of infected individual, scabs and crusts that can fall off. These are actually the period that it is most effective when you have the rash erupting. Okay, because what actually causes or passes it from one individual to the other is prolonged contact, okay, with an infected person, which could come in form of kissing, cuddling, or much more intimate relationship, which of course accounts for the reason why it has been predominantly found in a certain population. But all of that are beginning to change because children, yes, obviously. Okay, so these are some of the things that we need to know. Now we know with COVID, there were a lot of misinformation and disinformation. So it is proper and right to put out the scientific theories so that we can have a good idea of what this disease is all about. And of course, our focus is on prevention, prevention, prevention. How we can prevent ourselves from getting this disease. And of course, stopping the spread of this disease that started just some few months ago. And as we speak, is found in 78 countries of the world. Never has it been this pronounced in time past. And that is why WHO has come out to actually declare the disease a public health emergency. What that means is that a lot more concerted efforts will be required from WHO and partners and all nations of the world, because it is now a global problem. Okay, back in the years, some decades ago, it used to be confined to certain regions of Africa, but all of that have changed. Talking about transmission, we also said in some of our presentations that we have done in time past that the transmission can actually happen, apart from that it could be from animal to human, it can be from man to man, from one individual to another. And also vertical transmission is also possible, when we are talking about monkeypox, in which case a mother can actually pass it to an unborn baby. And that is why today we have about 80 children said to have been reported to WHO of having picked this disease. And you can fathom what that can cause. Children are usually people that take things for granted, play with one another in their classes and everything. So you can imagine the degree of spread that can happen in the coming days to weeks and months if urgent actions are not taken along this line.
Okay, I think it's safe for us to go for a break. When we'll come back, we're going to open the phone lines, and if you get questions, you get contributions, you get anything, we go on follow the doctor talk as regards to waiting we talk about this morning, we go to take them. Make una no go anywhere. And of course, I know say this break will also carry videos of some informations really very key to waiting they discuss this morning. But doctor, anyways, while they are waiting for our break, is it that we are not doing enough? Because I remember I said the last time when we come here, yes, we talked about it, but now we be say as of last week, like you said, the World Health Organization or Gabon declare them as a global health emergency. So is it that people are not doing enough, or is it that there's no much awareness to this, or somehow we are taking it for granted because we feel it's not COVID?
Yeah, thank you very much. It could be, I want to look at it from a number of angles. It could be as a result of a myriad of factors, not just one problem. Okay, number one, don't forget, the world is just still reeling to come back from the challenges that COVID-19 pandemic has thrown on humanity. Okay, so more or less attention before now has been shifted to COVID, and of course other health challenges. Okay, so that is why over the years, I read in somewhere they said the science the world neglected, okay, because it has been in existence in some part of the world, but now it has gone global. Okay, so more or less, I want to say that this virus, this monkeypox, still a match on the world, on the scientific community. They were taken unawares with what has unfolded now, and the spread was like a wildfire. Initially, we're hearing few number of cases in one country, in the other country. As we speak, 78 countries of the world have reported cases. India just reported about 4 cases. As a matter of fact, fatalities have, before now, the recorded fatalities, deaths, have occurred only in Africa. But as we speak, about 2 more people died. Outside of Africa, an individual died in Spain. Another person died in Brazil. A 41-year-old man was said to have succumbed to death in a town in Brazil. One of those towns that played where World Cup was played.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's spreading. The most important thing we need to do is to ensure that the right information is put out there. Okay, so people are now beginning to take measures. Countries are giving guidelines. I read about guidelines in 1 or 2 countries, in which case they've even advised people to wear masks in some areas, because infected droplets from individuals can actually pass across the disease. Burdens where infected people may have slept, may have used, okay, can actually transmit the disease. So the list of transmission, of route of or avenues of transmission is almost endless.
So for those where they join us for the very first time, I know we'll talk so you don't miss, because I'm sure you must have met a lot with the video you just watched. But then you get the opportunity to call in and ask questions, relating to waiting we talk about this morning. Okay, so the numbers definitely are on the screen. And remember, I said we don't entertain video calls now on WhatsApp. So that means you can call us on our WhatsApp number, and then you get to see yourself on our big screen anyways. And you can also Skype at us, and send us or call us on our regular number 08173147589, and of course 08105434984. Before we're on that break, doctor don't talk so much. He don't tell us the facts. Say right now we've got like 78 countries where they affected, with Spain being one of the most hit country, because of the numbers of deaths and all of that. But then doctor, I get 2 questions to ask. And I just want to be gender sensitive somehow, okay? Because from the videos where I just watched, and obviously from waiting, you don't like tell us this morning, even though you don't mention the fact that even women they are affected. But most of the videos they talk about men to men and then children. So are we saying that women are not really at risk of coming down with this? Or I don't know. I just want to be very clear on that. And then secondly, okay, maybe I shall allow you answer this.
No problem.
Okay, so I wanted to also talk about the issue of face masks, because I actually saw it in the video. I don't know, what does this have to do with what we're talking about now? What's the difference? We're talking about face masks and we're already talking about coronavirus. And, you know, the whole social distancing and stuff. I just want you to throw more light on the two questions.
Thank you very much. Those are very key questions. I must start by saying that. Let me say that the reason why emphasis is more on men who are sexually exposed to men is because over 90% of the reported cases have been found in this group, this population group. Okay, so that's why the emphasis is on that. Okay. You know, if you actually want to control something, you need to go to where that problem is concentrated most. Okay, so that's why the emphasis is on that. But that is not to say that other individuals may not be at risk. What you need to get infected is to stay with an infected person for a prolonged period of time. Okay, so if you're in close proximity, face-to-face discussion with an infected individual over a period of time, chances are that you can actually get infected. Okay, so but why a lot of focus and emphasis is on that aspect of transmission is because of the intimacy that is associated with it. Okay, things like cuddling, kissing and all whatnot can bring you a lot more closer to an individual that have it. Don't forget, one of the routes of administration is through respiratory droplets. Okay, so that's why you also need to have face mask. Okay, so I read the guideline that was issued in India, and it involves the wearing of the use of face mask. Okay. It also involves isolation. People who are infected will have to isolate for a number of days, for at least 21 days. And of course, that brings me to the incubation period of monkeypox, which is said to be between 5 to 21 days. Okay, but in all of those videos, what struck a chord with me was offering a friendly shoulder to individuals that have the disease. What that means is that we should avoid doing stigmatizing individuals who are infected. We should avoid discriminating against individuals who are infected. We should treat them with love and care. When we talk about this, it looks like, okay, I think we have someone.
Isaac.
From Enugu.
Good morning.
Hello.
Hi, good morning.
Hello.
Hello, good morning. Wow. I think that like two calls at the same time. Please call us back. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Okay, so offering a friendly shoulder. I have to write it down. Yes, it's key. Now, because the WHO DG in one of his videos I watched actually said that stigma is as bad as the virus itself. Now, because what he does is that he discourages people who have this disease from coming out to say they have it. Okay, regardless of the person's sexual orientation, the person needs to be given a friendly shoulder. So that way they will have the impetus to come out and actually seek for medical help. Okay, so that's why the network of around those people are actually where they are hitting it most. It's not that I find I'm not comfortable with using that word, okay, the way that it's being freely used, because we have to tell us something that can go with the community that we found ourselves in. Okay, so that's why we can't mention it the way it's being mentioned on the video. But we actually have an idea of what they are talking about. Now, coming to your second question.
The face mask.
The face masks, and of course, is it like COVID now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, it is like COVID in a number of respects. I must point that out. COVID-19 has to do with respiratory droplets. These also can infect, individuals can get infected with respiratory droplets, but there are differences. Okay, let me start by saying that, and that of course accounts for the reason why some authorities are advocating the use of face mask for people who are infected. Use face masks and as well as shield those eruptions, the skin eruptions, as much as possible so that individuals around you will not have contact with them and of course get infected. Okay, but the major difference between COVID and monkeypox is the fact that I read where a doctor was trying to compare COVID and monkeypox, and he said if COVID is like a snake bite, the monkeypox will be like a bed bug.
Wow.
Okay, so the difference is, permit me to use this word, 7-up. In terms of the causative organism, they are different. Okay, SARS, the virus that cause the two diseases are different. Their presentation are equally different. The case fatality between the two disease entities cannot be compared. Okay, but regardless, people still die from this disease. From both of them, people still get hospitalized. 10% of individuals who get infected actually get hospitalized at the end of the day because of the severe pain that it causes. Okay, so we need to be careful in handling some of those things. I've said this before, that recently, not up to a month ago or thereabout, I also saw a case in my own hospital, a gentleman that came in, he had no idea. As a matter of fact, I've seen 2 cases in the last 1 month.
Wow.
Okay, he had no idea where he picked it from. The other one was a man who came and had something similar, but none of the family members actually picked it. And also, high index of suspicion is required, so that if you're a healthcare personnel, we talked about the people who should get vaccinated who will still come to vaccination. Okay, so WHO DG has come out to say that the type of vaccination that is required in this case may be different from what we saw in COVID, in which case you have mass vaccination happening everywhere, every part of the world. But this time around, it's more of target vaccination, identifying and vaccinating the at-risk individuals. Okay, in developed countries of the world, they're already used to that. You heard about when they talked about prophylaxis treatment. That's treatment that one can do prior to picking up to prevent the person from picking up the infection or disease. Okay, and of course, post-exposure prophylaxis is also like there after the person probably must have picked up the infection. So they are doing that for a number of population, target population, and these populations include health workers, which include doctors, lab scientists.
Frontliners, more like. Daniel.
Hello.
Hi, good morning, Daniel.
Good morning.
How are you today?
I'm very fine.
Okay, please go on with your question or contributions.
Yeah. Good to see you, Mr.
Daniel.
Very fine.
Okay. Turn down your volume.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. You can go ahead.
Yeah, actually, what I want to ask is, for most of us, since the virus has a lot in common with close contact, how do we manage a situation that we travel to so many states and we have to sleep in hotels and all? What happened to us? Because some of us don't go with our bed sheets and all, so we have to use that from the hotels. Please, can you help out?
Yeah, thank you very much. That's a very good question. If things are done right, that shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah.
Okay, so I say this because I do know that I don't expect any hotel or people who offer accommodation to people to use beddings or bed sheets that an individual used without doing the necessary thing. Okay, even if you can't, the much you can do is to wash with detergent. Oftentimes, that is sufficient enough to kill whatever causative, whatever pathogen that may be embedded in that the previous individual probably must have left behind. So if we stick to hygienic practices, things like this shouldn't pose a problem to us. But I do know that a handful of people maybe due to oversight or willfully, may decide to pass across burdens that was previously used by an individual to a new people. Anybody who does that,
Obviously, unfair.
that's very unfair. Okay, so if we keep to good hygienic practices, that shouldn't be a problem. Okay, so but in any case, the degree of transmission is not as fast as what we have in COVID. So you need to be with such an individual for a prolonged period of time for you to pick it. We are glad to know that. Okay, so prolonged period of time, that intimacy needs to be there. Okay, it could be a face-to-face discussion. It could be having bodily contact with individual, in which case could come with sexual intimacy and what have you. So that's what I have to say along that line. Now, still on the number of people that have been affected, I was startled about a fortnight ago. Williams, good morning.
Hello.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, doctor.
Yeah, good to have you on the show.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And good morning, my dear presenter over there.
Good morning, sir.
Thank you very much.
Good
Thank
to have
you.
you. Please go on. Do you have a question or contributions?
Yes, I have a question.
Okay.
My
Please go
question goes this way.
on. Okay.
Is there any vaccine for this monkeypox now? And how do we go about it
Okay.
for preventive purposes?
Okay.
Thank you very much.
All right, doctor.
Yeah, thank you very much for that very key question. We're actually going to get there so soon. But now that you have asked the question, let's talk about that. The vaccine, number one, the type of vaccination we should expect to see with respect to monkeypox is not something like the one we are having now with COVID-19, in which case everybody is encouraged to go for the vaccine. That is mass vaccination. That is the way it's described in medical parlance. Okay, but this particular vaccine is for target population. These are for people who are at risk. They're oftentimes called at-risk population. Okay, and this include healthcare workers, people who work in the lab. Okay, this include people who are unduly exposed to some of those. Of course, this category of people will have health workers. And don't forget, the predominant group of people where this disease is spreading faster than any other group is still men who get involved intimately with fellow men. Okay, so these are at-risk population that need to be vaccinated. Talking about the availability of the vaccine, WHO Director General has said that about 5 to 10 million jabs are needed now, urgently, to combat this disease. And I can tell you that is nowhere to be found for now. What the good news is that the stockpile, the number of countries of the world had for smallpox vaccine, there were still a lot of countries that kept a stockpile, a large chunk of stockpile of smallpox vaccine, just in case smallpox does come out. Observational studies have come to show that this previously used smallpox vaccine can still be very useful today. Can still be very useful. So they are being modernized, they are being used for individuals. I also came across a number of people who were complaining in the US. They've been on queue to get vaccinated for days, and they haven't been able to do so. So what I'm trying to bring out is that it is not evenly distributed.
Sorry, doctor. Shedra, good morning.
Good morning, Ms. Moderator. Good morning, doctor in the studio.
Good morning, sir. Good to have you on the show.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm Shedrack Eze, calling from Anambra State.
Okay, we are glad to have you. Please go on.
Thank you very much. That's my home state.
Thank you. Doctor in the studio.
Thank you, sir.
I'm hearing you. You say very well. But I want to add more something there.
Yes.
Those symptoms that you have mentioned now, I think there's other peculiar elements that comes with those symptoms that you mentioned. And the one, how do we know somebody who is affected? Because as you have just said, this sickness or this element has gone globally.
Yeah.
I think about 17 countries.
78.
Pandemic, anyway.
Yes.
So how do we know and how do we manage these symptoms and this monkeypox? It has been coming and alarming. Thank you very much, Doctor, in the studio.
Thank you very much.
Sir.
Thank you. He has asked very many questions there, and I must point out that they are very key questions. Okay, so how do we know? I want to believe that it will take a medical eyes to actually discern in terms of the symptoms now, to actually discern the specific things to watch out for. However, we need to educate our population. I will advise that anybody who has any form of skin eruptions at this time, skin rash at this time, such individual needs to be, I don't want to say avoided, but you need to stay away from such individual, okay? Because saying avoided,
like
yes, I don't want to get into
swallowing
stigma stuff. Yes, you should give a friendly shoulder, but in as much as you're doing that, you should keep some distance.
I'm not sure we'll still take calls on the show this morning, but doctor, there's something that is quite confusing for me. So because I'm thinking if we could use vaccination for smallpox, then what's the difference between smallpox and monkeypox?
Thank you very much. Smallpox is no longer an issue because it has been eradicated since 1980. Okay, so that is one disease that has been eradicated completely. It no longer exists in natural forms anywhere in the world. However, it's still being kept in 2 laboratories in the world, one in the US and of course another one in Russia. That is just by the way. Okay, so that's why we are not bothered with with smallpox anymore, because the vaccine that was used at that time was so effective. Okay, so that we are wishing that some other disease entities like polio, we could see that happening with polio, but we are getting there. Okay, and more efforts are needed now. But in terms of the differences between these two clinical condition, they are similar in a number of respects. The major thing is that smallpox was a lot deadlier when it existed. It killed millions of people. It's just like something similar to what we have in COVID. Okay, but I still have a moral burden to go back to the last caller's question. Okay, so skin rash, he wants things that people can identify. Undiagnosed skin eruptions or rash, if you have anybody who has that around you, please keep some distance, but don't discriminate. Give a friendly shoulder. We have said that before. Okay, but in trying to do that, those rash could form blisters. They could form crust. They could form vesicles. They could contain water. Okay, prior to this time, the rash usually occur in hundreds, thousands, all over the body. The palms of the hand, the soles of the feet, even in the in genitalia, in male and females, that can happen. Okay, but nowadays we are beginning to see fewer rash or even solitary, very scanty rash in people who are infected. So that rash may not be a diagnostic feature that anybody can actually use to differentiate from who has it and who does not have it. But the most important thing I need to point out is that usually what differentiates monkeypox rash from some other disease entities is the fact that individuals who have it usually have swollen lymph nodes. Lymph nodes are places in some parts of our body when we have injuries, depending on the location of the injury. If it is on the hand, you could have some swellings here. If it's on this leg, you could have some swell. If it's on the leg, you could have some swellings on the groin. And all of that, those are lymph nodes. People who have monkeypox usually have swollen lymph nodes. So that stands out as one of the things you need to look out for if somebody around you is having it. But once that rash is undiagnosed, person hasn't gone to the hospital, please keep some distance. Even in taking care of such individual, it's been advised that either senior citizens around can actually take care of them, because these are people who are believed to have been immunized against smallpox because it is effective. It has been found to be effective. Talking about smallpox vaccine. Okay,
I think we should just take a pause on this for today, and definitely we'll continue again next week.
Yes,
Doctor.
Yes.
All right. So
there's so much to talk about on vaccine.
So we are just scratching the surface.
Yes.
See, we are just starting, Miko. But please, for those who don't miss the previous episode, remember, say if you watch them on YouTube, our YouTube channel is always open 247. Please go there and subscribe and watch our previous episodes on Top Health Matter. Thank you so much, Doctor.
Yes, stick to science, stay protected.
Yes, so we'll see you. I'll see you 1 to 2 on Top 5.
See you next week.